Hey everyone! I hope I'm doing this okay. For those who are watching the replay of this video, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully some people will come online and we can have a discussion. My name is Lara Manqui from Flourish Empowerment Coaching, and today we're going to be talking about something that I call the fairness trap. It's when we get stuck focused on fairness in an unfair situation. So it's these situations when we feel that we've been held a bad hand, and we're more focused on that instead of other things that can help us get the best out of the situation. So we'll be talking about fairness, what fairness is, and how this happens to us. And I will give you an example. And then at the end, I will tell you 3 ways how you can try to get out of the fairness trap if you see yourself in it. If you're here at the moment and you have any questions, please write them down in the comments. I will circle back to them at the end of this talk. So I'm going to start off with a story. It's been quite chilly here in the Netherlands, and so if you walk down the street, you can smell that smell of burning wood in the air. People have chimneys, and you smell that wonderful smell. And the other day, I was actually enjoying a fire in our chimney, and it wasn't that late, but it was at night, and somebody knocked at the door. So I was still I'm still healing from my broken toe. As some of you know, I broke my toe a few weeks ago. So I kind of hobbled to the window that was the closest thing to me. And I opened it up, it was cold. And I looked down and there was a person there I hadn't seen ever. And I said, "I'm sorry, I can't go down. My toe is broken." And he looks up, and I expected him to say, "Oh, no problem, I'll come back later." But he didn't. So he starts talking about our fireplace and if we were burning fire. If he started telling me that there were neighbors that were complaining about our fireplace, that in his words, there were people who were complaining that they couldn't breathe anymore because we were burning fire in our chimney. And the first thing that came into my mind was, what? Half the city is burning wood at this moment. Why is this person complaining to me, right? This is unfair. That's the first thought. So at first I was super nice, but then after that, I just got into this. I just blocked myself. He asked me about, what kind of wood are you using? And are you using your chimney every day? And the only thing I could answer was, I don't know. No, come back later. Finally, he realized he wasn't getting anywhere with me, so he left. He said he would come back later. My husband wasn't at home. I told him to come back when my husband in an hour or whatever, he was going to come back. My husband, he came back. The first thing I did, I wobbled to him and I said, "This isn't fair. Why are they picking on us?" My husband didn't even know what I was talking about, but he stopped me. Thank goodness he's a bit more level-headed than I am. And he said, "What are you talking about?" And I explained the situation. And he said, "Wait a second. Maybe this isn't what you're thinking. Maybe there is a reason for this." And there was. And I'll tell you about that in a little while. But what I want to demonstrate with this situation is that immediately in my head, it was, this is unfair. Why are they picking on me, right? And we do this very often. Very often, instead of being much more objective about a situation, we go to that idea of, this is unfair, and this is being done to me, and we can't get out of this. The other day, a friend of mine, we were talking on the phone, and she tells me that her boss had made a mistake, and because of that mistake, he had asked her to do some extra work to kind of resolve the situation. She would have to do extra work. And immediately the conversation was, it's not fair. I already do so much work as it is. It's not fair. I have various clients that say to me, I do everything at home, it's not fair, my husband doesn't do anything, or he's too tired when he comes back from work. So it's this idea that we go to unfairness instead of assessing the situation and realizing what we want to get out of it. Now, talking about unfairness or fairness, it doesn't really mean that the situation is fair. I'm not saying that these situations are fair, or any situation that you can think of in this moment where you have gone to the idea of unfairness. We're not saying that. What I am saying is that in unfortunate situations, in situations that are unfair, we do have the possibility of looking at other aspects of the situation that can help us get the best out of the bad feelings, help us get out of bad attitudes that we might have when these situations come up. So, what is this idea of fairness? Naturally, we tend to be fair. We are fair people. Fairness is built into us. When we have work to do between many people, we try to, make it equal. If we gain something or if we win something, we usually want to share. Fairness is part of us, and usually we interact with people who are fair. But that doesn't mean that life is fair. And it doesn't mean that we will always be part of situations that are fair. Naturally, there are situations that are unfair. And if we're not aware of this, or if this catches us by surprise, it leaves us open to act in a way or become a way that isn't the best and for the situation. That doesn't really help us out to get as much as we want from a situation. Now, I'm going to tell you 3 ways, 3 other things we can look at to be able to get out of this trap, right? If we have the ability to see ourselves fall into the trap, how can we get out of it? The first one is realizing what you want to get out of a situation. In the example with my neighbor, I could have thought, well, this is an opportunity. I don't really know my neighbors very well. We've only been living here for a year. We are foreigners. And so maybe this is an opportunity to get to know them better, maybe to help out, right? Maybe there's something that I can do here. And actually, when my husband went to speak to our neighbor, there was something that we could do. In this situation, the assessment of our neighbor was actually a bit fair. So there was things that we can do, and we are doing, to be able to avoid a problem with our neighbors. So that's the first thing. In the example of my friend with her boss, maybe she can think, well, how can I use this for my advantage? Maybe I can show my boss that I'm very good at what I do. Next time, maybe he'll consider me for a promotion, or maybe there's something else that she wants from the situation. Maybe it's a moment to realize that she doesn't really like that job. So she could, out of this situation, grow from it. Let's see, I want to grow in a different aspect professionally. How can I take this opportunity to do so? So that's the first one, looking at what you want to achieve for yourself in a situation. The second thought that you can have when you fall into the fairness trap is to think about, is to realize that you're interacting with another person and that you really can put yourself yourself in the shoes of that person. You really can use the opportunity to use your compassion muscle. So what does that mean? It means that we have the other opportunity to understand where the other person is coming from, and to even create a bit of love and compassion towards that person, and at the same time make a better bond, right? Create a relationship with that person. In the case of my neighbor, I could have said, maybe this person really is suffering because of the smoke, and maybe it's really true that all the smoke is getting to our neighbor's home. There must be a situation, there must be a reason this person is acting this way with me, and it isn't about myself. It isn't personal. And so you can step into this person's shoes. In the case of my neighbors, it actually was a situation that was complicating him. He lives very nearby. I'm actually looking at where my neighbor lives at this moment. And when the wind blows towards that side, he and all the apartments around where he lives, they're affected by our smoke. Now, he is the owner of all those apartments. So what happened is that all the neighbors were complaining to him. So he had a situation, and I had an opportunity to help him out. And unfortunately, I lost that opportunity because I was focused on the situation not being fair, when it actually was. But in my mind, it wasn't fair. So that's the second point. Trying to experiment with compassion for the other person who probably is in a situation that needs a little bit of help. And finally, and there are many ways that you can get out of this trap, but I'm just going to mention the third one. It is about thinking how you want to be in a situation, how you want to come up in a situation. Hey, Stephanie, thank you for being here. And what does this mean? I sincerely want to be a person who is open to listening to other ideas, who is compassionate, once again, who doesn't get crazy because somebody is explaining something to me. I want to be a person who has the tranquility to be able to speak to and who's reasonable, right? And I wish that everyone around me kind of saw me that way. Okay, this is my idea. So what happened was that in this situation, I could have acted in a different way. I could have been a bit more compassionate. Yes, Stephanie, right? Compassion. It's so beautiful to be compassionate. And I could have exercised. I could have taken this opportunity to be that person, or to kind of exercise and try to be that person. In every situation, we can go back to, who do I want to be here? Who do I want to be? And try to step into that, and try to take advantage of the situation at the end, right? So those are the 3 ways we can get out of the fairness trap. It is thinking what you want to achieve in a situation, trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes, trying to be more compassionate, and also understanding who you want to be. Going back to that last example, to that last point, in the example of my friend at work, maybe she wanted to be the more professional person in her job. Maybe she wanted to be that person, maybe she would like to be that person that is more cheerful and really can take things easily with stride, right? We can always think about this. What do I want to be here? Okay. So, and also as a bonus, you can always think about self-responsibility, just like we spoke about in our last video. Self-responsibility, and say, why is this happening to me? How am I responsible? And how can I change this for a next opportunity? How can I avoid this maybe in the future? And if you want to know more about that, you can go to the other video. Good. Does anybody have questions, comments? Are there any situations you can see where you've fallen into the fairness trap? Or maybe situations where you've been able to kind of jump over that hole? As I've mentioned, I always mention, all of this is a muscle. We're always working on this. I use the word fail. I don't really believe in failure, but I kind of failed the opportunity with my neighbor. But failure to me is an opportunity to learn. And next time I will try to do it better. Where can you see that maybe you have had the opportunity to learn and that you can learn from now, and next time do it better? If you want to comment in the comments, I always answer all of the comments. If you have any questions, please put them down. Hi, Felipe. Hi, Marianne. I'm super happy you're here. And that's it. I hope that you've this has been valuable for you. I hope you liked this video. And if you have liked this content, please feel free to sign up for my newsletter on my website, www.flourished.me. At the end of the website, you can find a little space where you can put your email and name. And in 2 weeks, my newsletter will be going out. It will be going out with a few blog posts of mine, a few interesting information, always looking to help you to become more empowered in your life. So I would be really happy to have you there. For now, thank you so much. Oh, I have a question. Yay. So Stephanie says, do you have any book recommendations about this? Oh, that's a really good question. Let me think. I can't think of anything right now, but I will give it a thought, and I will write down in the comments. When I'm always reading books, there are many books about this subject, so I'm sure that I will be able to answer you. Okay, thank you so much for the question. And again, any other questions, please put them down. I will always answer them. Thank you. I'll see you soon. I'll be back in 2 weeks on December 6th at the same time, Thursday at 10 a.m. And I hope to see you there. Thank you, Stephanie. Bye.